Yeah, hi. Now the audio is fine. Audio is fine. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that it was on mute. Yes. Thank you for letting me know we were on mute. I guess now it should be fine. It's all good. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. Okay. So here, all right, basically, I'm addressing the concern of, okay, I'm not so good in quant, which is true for most of us. So therefore, how do I still get a percentile in CAT, which is an upward of 95 percentile? Is it really possible? So if it is possible, how can I do this with certain wisdom? All right, how people have done it in the past. So that's what I'll be talking about. Okay, from what background I'm talking about this? Yes, I worked in the test prep industry since 2007. That's about 14 years now, and I've counseled many students of various strata and various backgrounds, both educational, cultural. So I met thousands, tens of thousands of students. From that understanding, I'm putting these views as to how people in the past have done it, so how it can be done well with the wisdom, so that despite being in weak, or if I prepare with certain understanding, it is still possible to get about 95 more percentile in quant, which is supposed to be very good. So that's what we are trying to talk here. Yes, so if you would like to interact with me, join me in the sense, like, for any counseling needs, etc. This is the Telegram group that you can use, and this is L. This is L. This is not I. This is the small case L. So that's where you can reach out to me, and you can seek your counseling needs, if any. Right. So that brings us to some of the burning questions. So if when I ask to the students why you would like to leave in my usual counselings, when I speak to them as to, like, so they come and say that, sir, there are too many quantitative topics, and in each topic there are so many concepts, right? You speak about time, speed, distance, you have relative speed, you have average speed, you have relationship between time, speed, distance, and then you have train based problems, boat based problems, escalator based problems. There's so many things in one single chapter, right? You talk about linear equation. Within linear equation, you have indeterminate system of equation, derived equations, simple equations. So all of that. So that brings to so many concepts, so many question types, right? So therefore, people say that it's becoming a little bit of an overload. So therefore, I want to leave, right? So and then, but the reason they give is what, I'm not an engineer. So first, more answer, the kind of common answer I hear is, why you want to leave some topics in quant? Why don't you do all the topics? If I just put back that question, the answer comes is, I'm not an engineer. Okay, underlying objective is what? Engineers are good in math? Not necessarily. What I'm trying to say is, people who are good in math take engineering. That is what they meant, right? People generally who are good in math, they go on to take engineering, is what the assumption. Fair enough. They're trying to convey that I'm not so sound in math. I understood that, right? So the second point is actually clear. Some of them know their thoughts well. They will come back and say that, look, somewhere I feel that I'm not very good in math, right? Somewhere I feel that. That's their point there. Okay. Should that be the reason to leave? Because I was not, I was. Now look at this underlined word. I was not good in math. Was. I was not good in math. So what people think is, because I was not good, I am not good, and I will not be good, right? Because I was already, in the sense, like, in the past, I didn't know driving. Therefore, I don't know driving. I will not know driving. No, don't extend so much. Don't extend so much. Let me also come to another point here. Hey, what you did in the schools is math. What you did in the school is math. I was not good in math is a right statement. I clearly agree with my students when they come and say that I was not good in math. Think about this. Hey, what an engineer or a math student go on to do in their 11th and 12th standard. Majority of their 11th and 12th standard is calculus. All right, if you want to understand that, all right, now it is more about uh, it's more about calculus. Just give me a second. Slide is moving. Yeah, so it is about calculus is what they kind of go on to do. They do more of calculus there, in the sense, like, they do higher order mathematics, which talks about the calculus, that is nothing but limits, continuity, differentiation, integration. They talk about inverse trigonometric functions. They talk about conic section, right? And yeah, names might look semi familiar to you, right? And they will talk about determinants. They talk about vector algebra. They talk about matrices. Hey, all this, is this a math skill? All this is a part of our quantitative aptitude? No. What we want to understand here is quantitative aptitude, not mathematical aptitude. Don't link these two. There is no link between these two. Just because of my mathematical aptitude is not good doesn't mean that my quantitative aptitude is not going to be good. In the sense, if you say that, hey, just because I don't know swimming, don't conclude that you cannot know car driving also. These are little different. It's a skill. Both of them are skills, but then they are little different. Don't equate mathematical aptitude with quantitative aptitude. Fair enough. let's be first clear on that. Let's first be clear on that. So then coming to this, okay, who should leave? All right, now, so then all right, now, if you ask me this particular question, should we leave? Yes, we should leave. But how to leave with wisdom? That is what we will discuss here. So who should leave then? All right, now, who is the people who should leave this, right? One, you have less time. You started kind of little late. I have less time, therefore I cannot cover these many concepts. Fair enough. I understand you should leave because there are so many tiny concepts and we have little time. Therefore, I will not be able to plan. Now, in your plan, there is always a revision time. So if you learn a lot, but if you don't revise, you will not learn. Take my words. If some of you, those who are listening to me, if you have done good in your 10th, if you have done good in your 12th, wherever you have done well and you scored really high, think about it. Or it's something which was common there. Or it's something which was common there at that point in time was you did quite a bit of revisions. All right, you did quite a bit of revisions. And now if you think that revisions are not important, you are not going to crack it. In your schedule, okay, there are 25 chapters in quant. Let's assume people classify it into 25 chapters. I do 25 chapters, but I don't have revision for these 25 chapters. Then don't do 25 chapters. It's going to be a literal waste of time. It's really going to be a waste of time. Then how to do with wisdom? I will discuss about that in a while. Okay, so that's something out there. So that's number one. So when you plan, always plan for revision, not plan for learning. What happens when you learn is you kind of know, but when it comes to exam, you will not be able to perform. Knowing and doing are two different things. You might know, but to do, you have to reinforce your learning. That reinforce is what I mean by revision. Say how many revisions? Depends from individual to individual. Some people need one revision, some people need two revisions, some people may need three revisions. Again, revision also is done with certain wisdom. There is a way to do that revision that we will think later at some other stage, but you have to keep time for the revision. Okay, third kind of category, who can leave? Hey, okay, I can do anything. That's not a big deal, but then it's not my favorite subject. Correct. If it is not your favorite, pushing yourself is very difficult. I understand because I am also human. Something which are not favorite to me, I'll always procrastinate, right? So because it's not my favorite, therefore I will not get so much of inside energy. I will not get that inner motivation to come and really do well. Fair enough. All right. Therefore, you can also leave. That's another one. Some people are afraid of information overload. All right, in the sense when they are doing quant, they get a feeling that okay, there are too many tiny concepts. I look at the questions, this look little different. The other one looks little different. This kind looks different. In the same chapter, all right, there are so many different varieties. Correct. You don't have to clutter. If you make it into information overload, retrieving becomes difficult. Very true, right? So therefore, I kind of say that hey, these are one of the four categories of students. In the sense you belong to any of this. I have less time because I started my prep late. Will I be able to cover the entire quant? No, it is not wise to do that. Okay, unless you have very sound background in quantitative aptitude. That's a different issue, right? Second one, I may not get enough time to revise because I looked at my calendar for the next 2 or 3 months. Then I figured out that if I do these many chapters, I will be doing only one round. So I will not have time for the second and the third round. Then you should not do, because you should always do 2 or 3 rounds, because first round and then you will come and reinforce that learning in the second and third round. That is when you will be able to do better in the exam. So you understand that okay, I can finish one round but I don't have time for revisions. You should not do. All right, third one, it is not my favorite. I cannot really push myself, so therefore yes, naturally, all right, that becomes a natural decision to leave the topic, right? Yeah. And if you're afraid that there is going to be information overload, because of that there will be complete cluttering in the brain, and retrieving becomes really difficult, yes, in that case also you should not do. Fair enough. All right, now these are the questions. Now how do I do, or how do I tackle these four questions with certain wisdom? I will give that roadmap, which is definitely doable just in about 40-50 days. If you do it about 50 to 60 days, let's say, okay, 40, 50, 60, whatever, based on the time available per day, you will be able to certainly do good all right, when it comes to this section. Now before I do, let me quickly remind you a small commercial break in between. Yeah, so there is the Unacademy offers two kinds of subscription. One of them is a plus, the other one is a iconic subscription. Plus comes out with the structured courses, the structured classes, all right, then you will have the structured study material with the notes, the highlighters, etc., etc. Whereas the iconic comes with more personalized guidance, right? It talks about more of personalized guidance, maybe while you are filling your forms, right? So in the file filling the SPJN form, You want to understand that what should be my answers to these questions, how well I can tell this answer. You want one or two mentors to look at your forms before you fill, maybe IFT form that you are filling, or maybe any B school NMIMS SOP that you are trying to fill. I am Bangalore SOP you have to fill. While you are trying to fill these forms, you always want somebody to take a complete look at your 300 word, 400 word essays, SOPs that you have written there. So that is what now you also mean by personalized guidance. Not just that, study plans are different for different people based on their strengths and weaknesses that is suggested. Right, one similarly, all right now. So test analysis, you're always getting 20 marks less than your expectation. How do you cover these kind of 20 marks, right? So these are the kind of things, all right, which would be talked about. Right, so that's what you mean by one-to-one interaction in the Iconic. Yes, the subscriptions come at certain nominal prices. So 6 months if you are preparing for CAT 21, maybe if you are preparing for CAT 22, the other two subscriptions might help. And on these subscriptions, you will definitely get 10% flat discount by using the user code. You can use this code. You are encouraged to use this code. You get that 10% on these listed prices. You can avail that discussion. The code says 100, but you don't get 100% discussion. The discount. Sorry about that. Yeah, Iconic of course comes with little bit of premium pricing. On this also you get 10% discount if you use any of the user codes here. Yes, so if you are looking for CAT 21, I encourage you to take this particular subscription because you definitely need a lot of one-to-ones while filling your forms, maybe during your interview prep, maybe, especially the interviews. Interviews and the form fillings require a lot of one-to-one interaction, not just the content, because that's what I believe. Because a lot of my students come to me and they speak to me for about the form fillings, and because the once you fill that form, one or two people may have to look at it and throw their opinions and critically they have to analyze it, ask few questions. Those things are kind of important. Especially it is much more important is what I believe. That's my belief. Yeah, from 16 September onwards the prices are going to go up. Subscription price might increase by about 10%. So consider that while you are trying to make your decision. Coming back to the lecture. Okay, some of you are trying to ask me something. Hi, Vaibhavi. Good morning. Is this useful for CAT 22? No, no. If you are looking for CAT 22, you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time. You don't have to bother. This is primarily useful for the people CAT 21 because for CAT 22 with about 14 months in place, 15 months in place, right? So you don't have to now think about leaving some topic. It is too early to think, right? It is too early to think. I don't want you to take such decisions as of now. So those who are appearing for CAT 21, this is the trick. All right, this is the trick what I'm talking here. Okay. Second level of difficulty question. Yeah, Rajat. Yes. Again, the difficulty level is subjective. Rajat, you are trying to ask, will the Cat Ninja course cover the second level difficulty? You can take a look at our course. I'll let that itself suggest. I mean, for you, it can be already second level, right? So what somebody considers level 1 can be different for level 2. But yes, I'll let know. So classically, if you put it there, yeah. So I always do the lectures at level 2 at least. Yeah. Fair enough. This is where we go. Now listen to me carefully. At this juncture, you listen to me. Those who are appearing for CAT 21 especially with 3 months to go. So how do you package this? I kind of package my whole study of quantitative aptitude into 4 areas. Number one, arithmetic. Arithmetic has three major areas. You may say that, sir, arithmetic has a lot of topics. Fair enough. I understand. But it's technically, in my mind, it is only three areas. One is percentages and all its applications. Percentages and all its applications. Hey, what do you mean by its applications? It can be profit loss discount. It can be SICI, right? Things like that. All right. These are all the applications of the percentages. So you don't have to pay special attention. If you learn your percentages well, technically your profit loss discount SICI will borrow concepts from there, but it's more to do with the application skills, right? Yeah. Similarly, the second important thing is when I say ratios, proportions, and variations. The understanding that concept has to be clear. Ratios, proportions, and variations. Say, what are the applications of this? The applications are time and work, time, speed, distance. Right? Time and work, time, speed, distance. Once the understanding of ratios, proportions, and variations are clear, you can actually learn time and work and time, speed, distance very effectively. What people do is they want to learn time and work, time, speed, distance, but they don't pay attention to the complete nuances of ratios, proportions, and variations. Point is the other way around. Hey, learn ratios, proportions, and variations properly, and then all the applications will become much more easier to deal with. All right, that is the honest truth. That is the honest truth. There are actually when it comes to the arithmetic, I classify it into three key concepts. What is the third key concept? Averages. averages. All right, it can be averages. It can be, when I say averages, simple average and weighted average. If someone knows the simple average and the weighted average, hey, what are the applications? Your allegations, your mixtures, or it can be replacements, or it removal and replacement of certain mixtures. See, all of this will come under the averages, right? Three key concepts. Somebody should be very, very clear with their understanding and the tricks in percentages, techniques when you already know, understanding of the ratios, proportions, and variations, understanding of the averages. Somebody does these three parts clear. Rest whole arithmetic is nothing but the applications and certain methods and approaches. I don't deny that fact. Okay, that's number one module. Okay, number two module, I put it as a geometry. Geometry, the first three things are very important. What is that? Hey, your understanding when you want to learn geometry, learn everything about triangle. Don't leave anything unturned. Learn as much as possible about triangle. Triangles are important. Second one, circles. Circles are important. Now, these are the two important things. Rest are again the applications. Say, what about the quadrilateral is an application. Coordinate geometry becomes an application. Polygons becomes an application. Somebody who has a fair control in triangles and circles, trust me, learning rest of them does not take time. Say, what I'm talking about, what takes time, what should not take time. That is the return on investment of time. I'm talking about return on investment of time, where I should invest my time so that I will get the huge returns in back, huge returns back. You have to invest time here. What people do, they will spread their attention across this. Don't spread your attention. First, you master these two areas. The rest of the applications can be actually built upon. These are the chassis, right? This is the engine and the chassis. First two, you build that engine and chassis. The rest of it would be technically easier. That's my point there. Fair enough. Now coming to algebra. Third module. Now these are the lectures. All right. Now these are the kind of divisions you can do it in the algebra. Hey, which are the two or three things? Now this is the engine and the chassis for algebra. Equations, both linear, quadratic, cubic. Fine. If you don't want to do cubic, I'm not very ambitious. Fair enough. Do equations, both linear and quadratic. Equation alone is not enough. Contrary to equation, inequalities is also important, because there are two things. Either you say equal or you say unequal. What people do, equations they do, inequations they leave, right? So, okay, equations and inequations, if you make fair control there, indices and surds, if you take control of this, most of the algebraic questions will fall in place. All right, yeah. Last module I will put it there, modern maths, that is PNC, probability, divisibility, LCM, HCF, all that stuff. Okay, now if you come to this, sir, what should be my order of learning if I want to get the high returns on my investment of time in the next 3 months? What should be my order of learning? Pretty simple. Your order of learning is this. First, learn this. Second, you learn this. Third, you learn this. And fourth, you learn this. That should be the order of your preference if you are pressed out of time. That should be the order. Now, while learning this order, I will come to it. There is something called as the parallel learning. Let me come to that. While order of learning is this, if you want the return on your investment of time and energy, because you are going to spend certain time there, from where do I get the best possible returns when I try to write this particular exam? You get the best possible returns in this particular order. Your investment of time on arithmetic matters most, your investment of time on geometry matters most, and then comes algebra, and then comes your modern maths. That is the truth, because all these questions put together will be somewhere about 4 or 5. So these many areas will generally give a result of 4. Don't glorify 4 or 5 questions. Don't glorify them. Give the due weightage for 4 questions. Don't go after them unnecessarily. That's my point there. Okay, that's why I'm putting that modern maths and the numbers towards the end. Knowing in a CAT, again, what is the exam scenario I'm taking here? CAT. I'm taking a CAT as the exam. The weightages can vary from exam to exam. Let's be wary about what is the weightage given in today's scenario in the last 4 or 5 years. What is the weightage given? Highest weightage in the last 4 or 5 years. Call it last 4 or 5 years. In fact, call it now, you can call it as a decade as well, is given to arithmetic and geometry. All right, from author's perspective, these are the two important, followed by algebra and followed by modern math. Say, if you want to put a figure to this, so if you ask me, sir, why don't you put some figure, approximate figure to this? Fair enough. These two together will cover 60%, more than 60%. Say 60 or about 60%, and the rest of it will cover only about 40%. 40%. Now, if you look at the CAT toppers, you want to really now get about 95 percentile. Out of 20, out of 26 questions, you may have to solve somewhere about 13 to 15 questions. About 13 to 15 questions with some errors. I'm talking that when you solve about errors or solve some questions, you naturally commit some errors. with errors, all right, even with those particular kind of errors, so you will be still able to do about 99% and a 90 95 plus percentile based on your errors, right? Okay, now coming back to this, how should I do this with the wisdom? Now a lot of them, now understand this, now should I take chapter wise? Now comes the real question. Listen to this part of the discussion very carefully. Having understood the classification, so now should I tackle, when I say that arithmetic is so important, should I now invest a lot of my time on arithmetic so that I will be able to do all the questions of arithmetic? No, there is a way to do this. Now listen very carefully to this particular slide. A lot of people fail to understand the breadth issue versus the depth issue. A lot of people fail to understand the breadth and the depth issue. You may say that, okay, what is this breadth and the depth? Breadth is nothing but doing the level 0 and LOD, level of difficulty 1. That is the breadth, right? That is the breadth issue. Depth is what? LOD 2 and LOD 3. All right, this is called as the breadth issue. Now coming to the depth issue. Breadth, you don't have a choice. Listen to me very carefully. Breadth versus depth. Once you understand this, you get your preparation on track. All right, you will get your preparation on track. What is the depth issue I'm talking about? When you go to the depth, sometimes on the depth of averages question, let's say that you are going to the depth of an averages question. When you go to the depth of an average question, it makes use of the concept of progression. I'm talking from the CAT perspective only. Now you may say that, sir, progression comes in algebra. I am not good in that particular concept of algebra. Yes, you failed to do averages question. Your average comes under arithmetic. Your average comes under arithmetic, but because you lack basic understanding of progression, you are not able to do a question on the averages. Now consider time speed distance. All right, in time speed distance as well. In time speed distance, when the speeds are in arithmetic progression, then the times will be in the harmonic progression, which means in time speed distance, you can actually use the arithmetic progression versus harmonic progression. Right, you actually use the arithmetic progression versus harmonic progression in time, speed and distance, right? We can use this, but the point is, sir, I don't understand arithmetic progression and harmonic progression. Becomes little difficult to do the time, speed, distance questions. Now for example, while you are doing a question on ratios chapter, you are actually talking about the fuel efficiency, the ratio, etc., inverse proportion, direct proportion. I mean, I'm talking about variations, ratios and variations, etc. You will not be able to do a variation question because in between the concept of AM greater than or equal to GM has come, inequality has come, basic understanding of inequality has come. Therefore, ratios I am not able to do. Look, this is the problem students face. Say, what is that problem student faces? They focus so much on arithmetic, correct? Arithmetic has the highest weightage in CAT, no doubt about it. They focus on arithmetic applications, but they don't cover the breadth of the other topics. Now, what I want you to do, so how I want you to understand this is, hey, remember, do all chapters level 0 at least, LOD 0. Now, LOD 0 is not a rocket science. I'm not even asking you to do LOD 1. All chapters of quant, LOD 0 should be done. Hey, how do I do that? Do a parallel study. Let's do a parallel study on this. In a sense, go deeper. Now, LOD 0, do all chapters as soon as possible. That is what I mean by covering the breadth. You just have to do LOD 0. You may say that, sir, I will do LOD 1 also. No problem. Do at least LOD 0 of all the chapters, be it arithmetic, be it algebra, be it numbers, all of that. All right, now do LOD 0 of all of it. Fair enough. So that covers the breadth. Then go deeper with your interest. Sir, I want to go deeper with arithmetic. Sure enough. I want to go deeper with geometry. Sure enough. Now hit the depth. What do you mean by hitting the depth in these areas? Now you go for LOD 2s and LOD 3s or LOD 1s, whatever is there with respect to the chosen topics. Within that, you can choose. For example, what are the non-negotiable topics? I will tell you. Coming to this, I hope you understood the issue of the breadth and the depth. People make this mistake. What they do is they start going deeper without going wider. First go wider and then start going deeper. First wider and deeper. Wider is what? Level 0 on all the chapters, all possible chapters. All doesn't mean entry, all possible chapters. And then start going deeper with respect to your favorite topics. Okay. While you are doing that, what are some of the non-negotiable parameters? Let's try and understand. Right? Arithmetic don't negotiate except 1 or 2 chapters. Try and cover the depth of arithmetic. Try and cover breadth, all the chapters that you are seeing here. Breadth has to be covered, right? The depth, you have a choice. Now, arithmetic, you go to the depth. Okay, go to the depth of triangles and circles. Now, what about the remaining areas? Your choice. I'm leaving that to you. But triangles and circles, you must go to the depth of it, given a choice. If I were you, so what I do, I go to the depth of the entire arithmetic. I go to the depth of geometry because that gives me high returns and high dividends, right? Geometry is another area which gives me high returns, especially the first two topics. You kind of go to the depth of it. Now, coming to the algebra, try and hit the depth on these two topics. At least try and hit the depth on these two topics, equations and inequalities. Rest, your choice. Some of the other important chapters is what, functions and progressions. These are the other two important chapters, if you ask me. Now, these are the four important chapters from algebra perspective, from where the bulk of questions come. At least the first two, one can hit this particular depth. Coming to the modern maths, your choice. Now, again, your choice. Pick some areas, pick the divisibility, and then you can hit the depth there. You can pick the LCM, HCF, you can hit the depth there, or you can pick the factors, you can hit the depth there. If you ask me which are the two important areas, these are the two important areas. When you want to hit the depth on LCM, HCF, and the divisibility concepts, and maybe something on the counting. If you choose like this, I'm sure, my friend, you will no stopping for getting 99 plus percentile. So you have to understand breadth and the depth issue. Breadth, do all the chapters. Mensuration, breadth, you should know. Polygons, breadth, you should know. Quadrilaterals, breadth, you should know. You should know the breadth across. Depth, you have a choice. Then go to the depth of it. I hope the message was very clear. So I was talking about the issue of the breadth versus the depth, which kind of people misunderstand every time. They start digging deeper into some concepts and they forget the breadth. They can't go deeper unless they go broader. First go broader and then go to the depth. While going to the depth, you have a choice. Going wider, you really don't have a choice, because the depth doesn't make sense unless you have traveled the width of it, right? Okay, that is the loud and clear message I wanted to give. If you follow this, then you can choose. Go wider. The topic choosing, your choice. You can start choosing the topics. I'm sure you will get upward of 95 percentile for sure, with the range of topic selections that you kind of do. All right, that brings me to the end of the discussion. You want to put something in the comments there? You have some questions? I will take few questions in a couple of minutes. Okay, if you have liked this particular video, you can always put this. You can put the like, and then before you leave, you can always put the like button. You can press the like button. That will also encourage me to come out with such videos, various topics. Yeah, you can share this link with your friends as well, those who are preparing. It might help them and if you have not downloaded the Unacademy app, you can download, because I'm coming out with few more lectures on the platform, which you can also attend there. Yes, if you want to take a look at, yesterday we spoke a couple of points about the LRDI. That is yesterday's session at 4:30. That was yesterday. You can also take a look at that on the YouTube week in DILR. That's how the topic comes there. Yes, and then we are doing a lot of lectures under the brand Cat Ninjas 1.0. There is a playlist under Cat Ninjas 1.0. Please go through that. And today at 2 p.m. we are doing Venn diagrams. That especially I will talk about the zonal theorem maybe. So if you want to take a look at two other Venn diagram lectures that I have done in the past, please take a look at that, because the first lecture of Venn diagram will definitely help. Will set a platform for this Venn diagram zonal theorem part. So that kind of helps me, that kind of brings me to the closure of this particular lecture. So any questions, I will take it before I leave. Any questions you have, I will take it. Even if you are listening to this, so you want to see it, or somebody, those who joined late, you want to go from the beginning and listen back to this, sure, you are encouraged to do that. But when you do it, at the end of it, you can also leave a comment, offline comment. I will try and respond if it is worthwhile to take the time to respond to some of those comments. Yes. Uh, Aditya mocks, I have done one particular video. Why don't you watch it? Yeah. Yeah. So it takes Aditya already know. So the mocks, I have made one video on the mocks itself. Mocks are very important. You should write 2 mocks per week, 2 full-length mocks per week. But again, already I gave a kind of a strategy there, 2 mocks per week kind of strategy. So that should help you. You can take a look at that. You can take a look at that. Thanks, Mr. Rajat. Thank you. Yep. So I will try to do my best. Yeah. Lalit, again, Lalit, you are asking that is it possible to get 90 plus percentile? Trust me, there are people I've seen, I've witnessed the people So those who crack the whole CAT in 2 months, and they will be a part of some of the wonderful IIMs. There are people who did for 1.5 years of preparation, still not gotten into any IIMs. Right? Both extremes exist. Right? Both extremes exist. Unless I know little more about you, I can't give such suggestions. Right? I'll be giving the false hopes. I don't want to give simply false assurances. That depends from individual to individual. Only after a certain amount of counseling I will be able to do. Counseling in the sense, first I need to understand your background, right? Honestly, when you also go on to the some of the IIM campuses, you ask your friends, some of them will say that they have not studied more than 2 months. Reality, some of them would have studied for 2 years. Both extremes are there on the same campus, right? Yeah. Okay. Javed, you are trying to say. Yeah, that is about the level. I mean, you may have to mature to that level, Javed. That is the thing. So you may have to mature your skills. But as long as you are able to do most of the CAT questions, then don't worry. Then don't worry. Take confidence from there, right? So more than the books, if you are already able to do the CAT questions, then it is fair enough. All right, try it in the mocks. If you are able to crack the mocks, get good percentiles, that's a clear indication that you are moving in the right direction, right? More than the material, I would always prefer a mock, right? If you do well in the mocks could be the right understanding. Mocks will tell the true story, because that is kind of how you are applying in that 40-minute scenario. Makes a lot of difference. That will be the true indicator of the skill, maturity of the skill. That would be the true indicator, not the lectures, not the material solving. The true indicator is the mocks. Yes, Lalit. Yeah, there are some national mocks going on. Yes, there are. The Unacademy also gives 2 mocks per week. That's right. That's right. Yeah, they're at the national level. Quite a few test takers take them. Yes. Yeah. All right. Anybody, any question? So if not, then I will take leave from here. Some mocks are free, Javed. Yes, some mocks are free, and the other comes with a subscription. You can try some free mocks to understand so how they are putting it into the structure. Some mocks are free, trial mocks. Right? In today's world, everything has to be tried, taken as a trial, and then we go for the actuals. That's a truth. That's a truth. I do it, you do it, everybody does it. Okay, yeah. So yes, trial mocks, yes. And after that, because it's 2 mocks every week, so they might increase to 3 as well going forward, because that is the need of the hour. Yeah. Yes, Akshay, how to increase the mock performance? Please take a look at some of my previous videos, how to improve, how to do well in the mocks. I've did one on quant as well. So try to take a look. There are challenges. Yes, there are challenges. And that is where vast majority of the people fail. They do good in the class. They do good in the audit. No, they do good when it comes to the studying. But when it is come to the mocks, it's miserable. I've seen loads of students like this, and it is not a new story. Right. So I've made a video on that. So how to do well in the mocks. Please take a look at that particular video. I spoke about 30-40 minutes. So that might give you some insights. All right, that would surely give some insights. Mock is a different ball game, and that is what happens with the CAT as well. A lot of people try to equate their learning with the mocks. No, there is a huge gap between the two. That gap has to be bridged. That gap is bridged again through the mocks only, right? It could be through sectionals, or it could be through full length. That's kind of important there. All right, yeah. Okay, all right. So there we go. There we go. That brings me to the close of the lecture. Thank you guys for being out here. So I will see you at 2, I'll see you at 2 p.m. today. So by till then, stay blessed, stay blessed. God bless you, and God bless you.